Okay, so let's start again now that people can actually hear me. Well, I'm gonna say hi, I'm Miss Boba, and the reason that people call me Miss Boba is that I am the person that made BobaBoard and have not a lot of fantasy for, you know, nickname and things. So what is BobaBoard? BobaBoard is this software that I started building a few years ago. The reason I made it and what I wanted to create with it was to update the concept of the old school forum for kind of like the modern future, well, the modern era. The idea was that, you know, with how social media is these days, we have kind of lost the sense of closed off communities where people can kind of sort of create their own fenced off space. And I think, and you know, like from research, many people think that this is actually an incredibly terrible thing that makes it so much harder to create this sense of community in the web, and that it would be really helpful for reestablishing the web as a better and more fun place to get these forums working again. So this is BobaBoard. It was made with transformative fandom in mind, so the fandom that does, you know, writes fan fiction meta, does a lot of shipping, and which is the one I'm part of. And the idea was to involve this community in the building of this website and well, this application of this software, and kind of have them help me shape it in a form that functions that for what we seek on this type of space. It kind of kickstarted all the other projects that you might know me from if you weren't coming here for BobaBoard. A lot of them are just like came out of these for the reason that if we do want to build this type of space, if we want people in fandom to build them all together, we need people to have a pathway for good technical education and good web development education. And so all of this said, what we're here to do today is I'm here to like show you BobaBoard a little bit and then guide you through the various parts of the BobaBoard code base to give a general idea of how they're structured. The reason that we are doing this is that in this year, this is my year of teaching, and kind of like this also implies my year of transferring my knowledge to the broader community. As we are preparing the website to well, we're preparing the software to be used by other people. We've had a community running for a few years now, like literally, like I think it started running 4 months after I announced the software. So it's like very established. It does work and you can use it and people have been using it. But we want to like, you know, expand both our volunteering and our volunteering team, but also the people that are using it. And so one of the main important step of this is that the knowledge that I do have needs to be given freely to everyone. And so this is what we're here to do today. But because many people have not actually seen BobaBoard, one of the other things that I want to do before we get there is just show you around the website and how it works. So to start that, we also have the documentation actually. Let me just give you that in case people want to see it. This is our documentation website. Wait, can I pin it? I should be able to pin it, right? I do not know. I am actually, is this to pin the message? I have no idea. Okay. If it's pinned, it's pinned. If not, I have no idea what's how to use things. But anyway, this is our documentation website. Like, it's not super up to date. It's like we're in the middle of building it. There's pages that might not make sense, but you know, it does have some of the things that I'm gonna be telling you all about. So if you do wanna like look at them on your own time, docs.bobaboard.com is where you can find a little bit more about this all. So with all of this, unless people have questions, let me know in chat. I'm gonna go and start showing you the site. So as I was saying last time, wow, these are a lot. Wait, I can click on them. So as you see, we have some Christmas decorations still on our website. Yeah, you know, it's like not a core part of the site, but yeah, it kind of gives a sense of the sort of mood that we have in development and in, you know, just the philosophy is to have fun. So, okay, this is the main page of, this one here is the main page of a realm. Realms are, you can just think of them as forums. So you have, again, your own realm. They have an administrator, and the administrator chooses who is in, who's out, how do you get them in, like, you know, whether you want to ban someone. It's, you know, a realm that someone has made where they can kind of control what type of content is posted, what rules are there, all that sort of thing that someone might do with an old school forum. One of the things that's a bit different from like these and other forum software is that on like BobaBoard you can have a lot of different realms hosted on the same machine and like on the same URL. So you can have, I don't know, fandomcoders.bobaboard.com and for the fandom coders realm, or you can have, I don't know, thinking about ships, what is even there these days, I don't know, supernatural.bobaboard.com, and all of these are separate and you can have an administrator for each of them. So this is the idea. But what happens, what is in every realm? So the kind of like core of each realm is the realm boards, which theoretically could be divided in categories, but we haven't, well, we haven't made them visually a thing yet. They're just a thing in the server. So here are the boards of our like test, and you can see them. These kind of like go on the topics that that are being discussed in this realm. They're kind of like a way to both tell people what they can discuss, but also like maybe funnel, you know, some dangerous content on like specific boards so that you do not stumble upon it by accident. So here, for example, you know, there is an anime board to discuss anime. We have a meme board to post memes in the test instance. No one, like, this is fake-ish. And yeah, a main board for announcement, and then like just some test things there. And so yeah, you have these boards, you can pin them, you can mute them, you can pin, you can like remove all the notification and so on. And then when you click on them and enter in them, you have threads. I bit my tongue, sorry. You have threads. So threads are, well, threads, they, sorry, water. So I was saying you have threads. Threads are, well, threads, you post content in them. They have like a starting post like this one. And then when you click on them, you get their content. So as I was saying, the idea here was to kind of modernize how forums look. So this is a lot more, well, you can do more things with this type of threads. We will see them in a second that you can do with forums. These view types here might be, you know, a little bit of a, give a sense of what it is. So you have actually on BobaBoard, you have 2 levels of discussion that can go on in a thread. So you can see here that you have comments, but then you can make another contribution, and here you can write, here is some more content, let me think, you can put a GIF. Let's see what's supernatural. I guess, yes. Oh, we didn't add tags. But yeah, you have like these two levels of posting. You can make big addition to like a thread, or you can comment on single posts. So here you can say, I love supernatural GIFs, and even like do kind of like Twitter style threads to I don't know, maybe add another GIF. I do not know what that's about, but it's great. So yeah, so this is kind of like how it works, and you can have threads like this. You can have as many as you want, and we'll go to tags in a little bit, but yeah, let's see something else. So another thing that is in BobaBoard threads is that you can actually have different views in them. So here, for example, this is just a thread of memes from Somnium Files. I don't know if you know the game. It's a great game. Yeah, so this is a gallery thread. So here, every post is like put in this gallery view so that you can like look at them all. Again, you can comment if you want on things. Well, this is because there is a new comment there. Like, you know, you can comment on things, close this if you want to see the gallery. You can also see this one, just like as we were doing before. You can see the thread of it, or you can see even in timeline mode, kind of like post in the orders that they were posted in. And then we have, it also has like different concepts of tags compared to regular websites. So here, sorry, I will give you the most important bit about BobaBoard in 1 second, which I just realized I didn't do. But let's continue talking about tags. So yeah, you know, if you want to add something else, this is some content, and you can tag it in many different ways. You have like a tag that you can search. So this is for like actual making a post searchable by someone. It doesn't work right now. Like, it's there, but we haven't implemented search across like the realm. So, you know, it's there if people want it. Then you can have content notices. For example, this is bad content, and you can see that they all look kind of different. So that's this concept of like separating each tag to give them some sense of the functionality. One thing you can have is like, you can also have categories. So here, if you want to post, for example, a new meme that features Iba, you just put it there. And then it has like whisper tags, you know, the things that people do on Tumblr, where they just like write comments in the tags. Yeah, it's a thing you can do. And then when you post it, this is kind of how it looks. So you have like the content notices up top, so that, you know, before you see the post, people can kind of like be like, no, I don't want to see that. You can, oh, I don't know what happened there. Okay. Sorry, what is happening? Did my server die accidentally? Oh yes. Okay, sorry. I know it. I got it back. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, so you have like, here they are, like you could technically search. Another thing you can do with these tags is you can filter content. Where is it? So for example, here you have like all your gallery, and you can filter content. For example, only see the content with a certain tag, or like only the content with no tags. And yeah, so that's the idea. Similarly, like on each board, you can filter by like what type of category posts you want to see. That, and yeah, all that. This is like how it works. But now the most important part that I can't believe I like didn't think about immediately saying, is that So this is not like, this is how it started and kind of like how people like it, and so how it stayed. So it's this concept of like anonymity on BobaBoard. So whenever you make a post on BobaBoard, you actually do not make the post as yourself. So if I, for example, do make a post, a new post that I've never participated in, this post will give me a random identity. By default, what happens is when you post, you get assigned a random identity. They tend to all be memes, just because, again, this is who we are. Mertarso says, very cool. I'm glad you like it. People have a lot of fun with it. I do really like how it came out. So like, you know, you get a random identity, and you can see here that like Bobotan is me, so there is a sense of who I am, but no one can actually see it. So here, for example, you know, Dragon Fucker, again, they're very mimi, made this post, and who is it? I have no idea. I don't know which other user is like inhabiting this identity. So the identity gets given on every thread you make, and whenever you enter a new thread, you get given a new identity. So it's kind of like this balance between, you know, we want to allow discussion without kind of like letting people harbor resentment, if that makes sense, like across different threads, kind of giving that freedom of, you know, what I say doesn't kind of come with me. I can be free, I can be myself, but still allowing you to maintain this consistent identity within each thread. So it doesn't change my identity in the thread. If I make a different post, this remains who I am, but I can hide my identity, and like now you see it how other people see me. See, there's not my avatar. This is just like if you want to make a screenshot for someone. And so the other thing that this allows us to do is, if you have a bad actor in your forum, is someone like really gets mad, like, you know, does something where you're like, that's not great, we should have a talk, you can actually, the administrator can choose to see who they are, see their actual name, and go talk with them, or you know, or if they want, like completely ban them. Now, the other thing that actually this resulted in is that it's actually a fun way where people, like, you know, start talking, and then they actually figure out that they very much would want to like talk about more about this in private, and so like they can go to the administrator, and we have a process where they say, hey, I would like to know who you are, and the other person is like, I am fine with you knowing that, and then I, as the administrator, kind of like go see who they are, put them in a Discord chat, and I'm like, have fun. So yeah, this is how it works, you know. The original idea was to have friendships where if you were friends with someone, you might be able to see them, what they were doing across the site, even if they were anonymous. But actually, like, you know, as we were doing this, people just loved the anonymity bit so much that we never kind of got to implement anything else. Well, not true. We did go to implement something else. And so we have also this concept of fix the roles. So here I have an identity as the owner, and I can be like, this, you know, another post. And so I can inhabit, if I want, in that thread, like the owner identity, so people can say, oh, this is actually the owner of the board making this. We also have a concept of equips. We made this, again, sorry for the memes, we made this for the first time on 420, so they are like weed themed. Yeah, so you can, you know, like you're the owner, you decide you want to smoke a joint on this post, and then you post it, and that's how people see you. And yeah, so that's the idea. At some point we will like allow people to have everyone to choose to post as who they are. If you have a realm where like regular identities are allowed, all this kind of things. Right now we're still kind of just building the building blocks and like making sure that people have fun. Mirtaso says, love it. I am glad. I'm glad you like it. As I said, people have a lot of fun with it. So let me see what else is there. So we have so one of the other concepts that there are here are the concepts of permissions and roles. So if you have been on Discord, you know that what you can do is really dependent on the roles that you get given within a server. And so we have a very similar concept. So what can you do? You can be assigned a role, and that role can determine like the capabilities that you are. For example, now I forget what permissions my role is. So, but for example, like you see, I can edit the tag of a post, and normally if you are the author of a post, you can edit the tags. You can edit the tags of a post, or if you have permission to edit tags of posts, you can also do something similar. So the idea behind this is like, maybe if someone like has the permission to change categories of posts this can be on all the realms on specific boards, they can do that. They can go and be like, oh, okay, no, this post should have been filed under announcement, so I'm gonna change it. And you can just give them that possibility without giving them full power over everything. So like they might be able to change categories, but they might not be able to change content notices, for example, or they might not be able to delete a post or do anything else that you can do. And so it has, this concept of kind of granular permissions. And because the philosophy underneath this is really building extremely flexible blocks that you can use to build a community that feels works the way you want it to work. And then sorry, close your eyes if you don't want to see. There's nothing major, but if you don't want to see anything related to Gore, I'm going to click on the Gore board. And so one thing here, for example, is that you can also have permissions on every board, as I was mentioning. So if you are if you've been given permission on the Gore board, you can have the Gore Master 5000 identity in it, and again, this might come with permissions on the specific board. So again, if you are the making sure that the people in here use the right content notices kind of person, you might be given the permission to change the content notices on this board without having this permission anywhere else. And so that's kind of the idea. And as I was saying, the other last bit that I do kind of want to call out is this BobaBoard is structured in galaxies, where a galaxy is just like a website like bobaboard.com or whatever URL, top level URL you want, and then within it there are many different realms. So kind of subbar to again hennygram.whatever.com, onepiece.whatever.com. And the idea there is to make it is because we know in fandom certain types of technical skills like hosting and administration and high level are a bit complicated. We wanted to give one person the ability to get a machine, host this, and then give a different forum to all of their friends to kind of manage without the need for everyone that wants to use this to know how to manage a how to manage an actual server. So in this, it's like, I want to say it's kind of different from Mastodon and things, where everyone who wants to run their own Mastodon instance needs to know how to manage the server. This is done so that it kind of lowers the bar of what's needed for many people to be able to run their own communities. And in particular, we are right now, one of the latest things we've done and kind of like shepherding in the new era is we made a NixOS configuration for BobaBoard. If you don't know what this is, doesn't matter. But in long story short, we actually give people something that has all the code bases, all the code that you will see in a second, all like the technical bits of BobaBoard prepackaged, so that you can, in like a few commands, you can bring this up on your own server. And then you still have to manage it a bit, but like, you know, it becomes a lot. It's very, very easy to put it somewhere and have it run. Not yet so easy that I would suggest that anyone does it, because we have a few big parts that need to be in before before you don't need me to tell you what commands to run to update the software. But for the most part, this is the vision, and we're getting there. So this is it. This is how it works.